Agatha All Along, season 1 just finished up. We've already done like an intro to this show. It's listed on the same webpage on the website. So if you go to the Agatha All Along webpage, you can search at mostlysuperheroes.com. You can get the who made it. I think we talked about episodes 1 through 5. Let's get to spoilers. Spoiler alert for the show, and we'll do roundtable ratings and thoughts before we move into the DC universe. That's right. It's a double meat, a double feature, a McChicken. No, a Big Mac.
Big Mac McChicken.
I would say a Big Mac McChicken, which, what are you guys thinking with that? But it's double stacked. Agatha All Along, spoiler alert, she died. She's a ghost. The Witch's Road wasn't real. It was made by Billy Maximoff, a psychic who is now reincarnated in this poor William kid's body that did die, but it is Billy Maximoff. This is the son of Wanda. He made the whole Witch's Road the whole time.
It was fake.
3 witches died, though.
Yeah.
Those witches totally died for real. But it was just like WandaVision. They did what they did in WandaVision to us again. A world was created out of thin air. What actually happened was Agatha had a kid once upon a time in the 1700s. Don't know who the dad is, but the kid was dying. Death shows up. Whose death? Aubrey Plaza, Rio, and she's like, I'm gonna take your son, and she says, please don't. She doesn't. Buys a little time, and along the way they came up with this song, down, 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 down the Witch's Road, and we all know it's catchy.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
and
it's in my head all the time.
And not only do we think it's catchy, but witches think it's catchy.
Yeah,
and they use it to trick witches to like be like, oh, you like the song? It's a real thing. I need a coven. Come be my coven. And then she would suck the powers away. Mm-hmm. And her son, Nicky, or Nathan?
Nicky Scratch.
Nicky Scratch.
Nicky Scratch. He says, Mom, do we have to kill these witches every time? Couldn't we just like hang out with them? And she's like, no, we got to kill them and take their power. Kid gets sick, dies. Death takes the kid. And this all comes out in the big finale to where she had this son. It was always a ploy. When she brought the modern day witches coven, poor Kitty Red, and the only one that did survive was the one that sold like fashion, like cream.
Yeah,
and she got her powers back, and she made it, but the rest of them die, all through this magic portal that the kid Billy Maximoff opened up, and boom, there you go. And then what happens in the end? She sacrifices. Well, a couple big things happen. Like the rules of the Witch's Road was still true. Mm-hmm. So even though he fabricated it, he made the rules, right? And the show gets funnier the more you realize this and you rewatch stuff.
Yep.
Like Agatha knew this like early on.
Oh, right away.
Because
when the door was created.
Oh, it's him.
She was like,
you're so much like your mother.
Shit.
You're so much like your mother.
That was huge.
This is not a real thing. I was just going to take everyone's power.
Yes.
And they were going to die. And now there's a door here. I guess we're going in.
And she knows the whole time.
Yeah.
And so what's the rule? If you get to the end, you get what you want. So the one witch got her powers back. Billy wants to find his brother. He's out in like the ethos is what Agatha, he's just floating out there.
Somewhere. Yeah.
You have to put him into a body just like you did. And there's a kid drowning somewhere and there's a vision and he puts this, not his dad, like a vision in his head, and he puts this kid's body, Tommy, presumably, in that kid, and he's out there now.
Yeah.
So like he got to leave, and Agatha sacrifices herself to death to let Billy go. Comes back as a ghost, and is like, "I'll help you find your brother." That's the end of season 1. Thoughts, Scotty Scoop. Did you know about her being a ghost? Are you a comic fan of this? What were you going in? And what were your thoughts on the series?
I don't know a lot about Agatha in the comic books. So, I mean, this show was just all new to me.
Just a new, fresh thing.
Just a new, fresh thing.
No prior knowledge coming in.
Okay. I know Billy and Tommy, but, I mean, this didn't really have anything to do with that, really.
Just Billy, kind of.
Just
being
Billy.
able to do psychic and reality powers,
and
essentially.
It's nice to get fresh stuff.
Yeah.
Like not rehash things that you've already read or seen and then you kind of don't know what to expect. It's a little surprising. I really enjoyed this. I mean, when they announced it, I was like, really? This is what you're doing with your money? Like, you got to find something better. And as it got further along, and they're like, oh, well, it's going to be a musical. And I was like, musical, that's interesting. I do like some musical elements. Like, just do something different than everything else. And as it was coming along, I think I waited for like 3 or 4 episodes, and I downloaded them all, watched them on my trip recently, and I was really into it.
You liked it.
After that, I was there every week for the new episode.
Yeah,
and had a really good time.
Nice, very
Catherine
good.
Hahn,
And you
Aubrey Plaza. I was like, yes, more.
Cool. And we'll see if there's any final thoughts on like MCU implications. Andy, Giggler, Agatha All Along. Where'd you fall with this? You and Steph watch it? Just you?
Oh, yeah.
What happened?
Oh, yeah, we were in that appointment TV every week, like any Disney Plus show, as is always. We're strapped in. I mean, I really enjoyed this one. We even had a Ralph Boner appearance.
Yes.
That he basically is the one that told Billy that who he was, more or less.
He's like, I was possessed. I did live there. It was not cool. Agatha was pulling on the string. She made me kill that dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, like, I'm just,
that.
I'm not forgetting that she did kill the dog, even if she made him do it. But yeah, dude, that Ralph Boner scene was great.
Yeah, for sure. Catherine Hahn was just epic. Same for Aubrey Plaza. Like they were so good together. And like this is something that I want to rewatch now. Like just knowing that Agatha knew the whole time, because I didn't catch that like until it was too late. For me, I'm a little bit slow sometimes, but honestly, I'm ready to see what obviously WandaVision was the first part of this, Agatha All Along. I've heard that Vision Quest might be kind of like a third entry in this story. Is that where they're going to look for Tommy? I don't know, but I'm ready to see. Like I want to see where that story goes. I definitely want to see Vision again, and Wanda. Everyone was like wanting Wanda to be a part of this. They didn't need that. I'm glad that they didn't. But I think I'll go with do we do ratings?
Go ahead.
Like a 3.4 out of 4 on this one.
Nice. Fair share, man. I would say, I felt like it was a bold, cool thing to do a show like this. It totally did come off the WandaVision theme of like a fake reality, kind of like a what's going on, and like a gotcha at the end. So like they kind of repeated the formula in that sense. So for that reason, like WandaVision's timeless. I don't know if this will be as timeless, because you're kind of like, after you find out that he was doing everything, it is fun a little bit, but you're also like kind of over it a little bit. Whereas like the WandaVision, I can watch over and over because you realize it's Wanda doing everything. So whenever you kind of put that on like what's happening and like the dialogue that's being said, or like whatever situation she's put herself in, we know that character deep, hard, and true. Whereas like this Billy character, we just don't know. The connection to Wanda, I mean, how do you not go down this road and not do a family reunion whenever you got Vision Quest ahead on the schedule? So I think it's kind of like, the fact that this kid existed changes the storyline of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, like in a giant way. Like she had no idea that her kid like was out in the ether. She didn't know that he took over this dying kid's body. If she had known that her son was like literally on the earth when she was,
yeah,
she would have not been doing what she would have been like, oh, my kid's alive. My kids are alive. Like I don't need to go hunting the multiverse for my kids. They're here. Like they just need a body. And then they're back, which is like crazy too. Like they've totally introduced this like concept of like, you can body jump essentially, even if you're a created character. So
Yeah.
I think that's, I think it'd be a mistake at this point not to do it. But at the same time, is this one of those things where like we just never hear anything about Billy again, and it's just like this one show? Or
Oh no.
I've heard that
Yeah.
I heard Billy might have his own show.
I mean,
And that-
Wiccan is a young Avenger.
And there you go. And you got
He's a young Avenger, 100%.
yes. And this was definitely one of the more gay shows for Marvel, which is like, I'm quoting Aubrey Plaza on that. She's like, it's the gayest show Marvel's made,
Mm-hmm.
which is awesome. So like
Yeah.
you've got like this great representation, something that hasn't been as strongly present in Marvel stuff. I think that's like a big part of it too. But overall, Catherine Hahn's a huge win. You want to see more of her all the time. Like I'd be ready, just keep popping her around the Marvel universe.
Please.
Which would mean I would watch a season 2 as well. So yeah, I'll go my rating. Then I'll be done on this one. Agatha All Along, give this a solid 3.3 out of 4.0. Scotty?
3.35.
Nice.
Split the difference. Nice.
Yep.
Any
right in
final
between.
thoughts on the latest Marvel television series before we move on?
Where does it go? Is it an Agatha season 2? Is it a Wiccan season 1? Do they try to jam all this into, Vision Quest? When do we get any kind of closure to this?
Especially whenever you got like Kevin Feige talking about like streamlining the slate and like
Yeah.
only focusing on certain titles.
Yeah,
and-
we're doing 2 movies a year and 3 shows.
right.
Like, does this get pulled into priority, or does it kind of another thread that doesn't get pulled on for 10 years?
Yeah.
That's all I'm worried about.